Welcome back to the Millionaire Landscaper Podcast. Now, today we have a very special guest on. His name is Luke Hansen of CompanyCam. CompanyCam is an awesome app that you can use not only on your phone, but you can use out on the field. You can use it on a computer, everywhere. And it's something I got hooked up to and started learning about a few years ago, actually. And I started following him. He's doing this for other industries. And now he's starting to step more into the landscape industry. Welcome, Luke. Thanks for being on the show.
I am glad to be here, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you mind just giving a little background on yourself and how this app came to be? Because I think it's a really interesting story.
Oh, yeah. So, I come from the roofing industry. So my dad started a roofing company here in Lincoln, Nebraska back in I think it was 1984, the year I was born. And so I've done almost every job you can do at a local roofing company. I was cleaning up the nails and the shingles off the ground at probably an illegally young age, graduated to nailing the shingles down. And then I did sales and marketing, and I managed some people. I just did all this stuff at this roofing company. And it grew a lot over time. Like in high school, it was me and my buddies roofing houses, with some other guys. And then I think now I'm old, I'm 37. So now they have maybe 150 employees. They're just working on, it's grown pretty steadily, but now it's a much bigger business. And so in the roughly 2014, I was managing a division, the kind of siding and gutters element of this business. And we did not know that as well as we knew roofing houses. We had all this built up experience, knowledge. You knew what to look for. You knew what to worry about. And we were just kind of getting stuff wrong in this other area. And I was really harping on everyone, I need you taking photos. I need you taking photos when you're estimating. I need photos on the job. We need to know that we didn't damage the property. We need to plan what we're going to do. And I had people emailing me photos, and then they couldn't email all of them. And then that was back when people would hand you the memory card out of their phone. They had that tiny little micro SD, and you stuck it into the slightly larger one, and then you could put that into your computer. And I kept thinking this is terrible. And I don't have things organized, and all the files are named image _ 571436. It's I couldn't find anything. And I thought there has to be a better way to do this. So I started looking around for apps that allow us to take photos on these different projects and just have them stay organized by that project. Usually by the address, because that's the thing that doesn't really change, and if we want to look it up later, that's easy. And there just wasn't anything out there that I could find. I looked for months. And so finally, I thought, I run on the ask forgiveness versus permission framework a lot. So I was we should just do this. So I just hired some, a little dev shop of engineers locally to build kind of a version of this app. It was going to cost us 20 or 25 grand. It costs you a lot more now, probably, because everything's getting more expensive. But, and they built a version that roughly showed that it was a solvable problem, that we could capture these images on site. It would auto organize them under the address. And then later, if we wanted to plan it, if there was a dispute, if I wanted to use them for marketing, they were just there and I had access to them. So come 2015, we split. We started our own company called CompanyCam, separate from the roofing business. And I've been doing that full time since 2015. And, now when we started that company, we had one employee, which was our first engineer. And I think now we're up to almost 140 people. And it's going really well. It's a lot of fun. But it's definitely came out of this problem that we were experiencing. And, all along the way, I thought, this is not a roofing problem. We experience this because the nature of our work is that the job is over there. And you have to go over there. And you as the owner or manager, you can't be everywhere, and you want to know that what's the state of it? Is it getting done right? Are we running into anything unexpected? There's all of these questions that you have that you really can't answer. It's a pretty shared problem. So we still have a lot of roofing companies because that's what we knew. And that's kind of where we marketed it most. But I mean, we've got hundreds, if not even, I don't think we have thousands yet, but hundreds of landscaping companies, painters, plumbers, pool builders. It really spreads across any sort of contracting business to where there is a job site where the work happens And if you're at the scale where you can't be at every one of those, that's who we think of as our customer.
Now, I could totally relate to this. When I was working with my father's company, at one point we had 3 different designers and estimators, and trying to get them to get pictures all on one platform was a total nightmare. We tried like separate external drives, and it was just a hassle, And then eventually Google Drive came along and stuff. Like we tried that, but still, it was a nightmare trying to get everybody to put everything in. They would forget about it, or if I needed to go look it up, I'd have to go get access to their folder. It was a pain. So I could definitely see the need for this.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's job, they have a job. Like they're doing landscaping, or they're designing, or they're selling, and that the sort of organizing of the information that you're capturing is usually the first casualty when you're busy. And even if you're trying to do it, getting it all into the right folder, getting it to where it can be found later and used is just, it's not even that it's so hard. It just requires this ongoing commitment to process that is hard. It's like, it's the hardest part of a contracting business is like maintaining that and growing it, like, and so, that we really set out to solve that problem initially. It was like, get it captured and get it organized so it's all in one place and we can find it. And that's kind of how we built the app, so that you open it up and it's like, if you're at a place that your company has been and taken photos at before, it'll just be like, hey, it looks like you're here. Yep. And then you take the pictures and then they all just organize under there. Or if you want to create a new project, it's kind of Uber style. It like drops a pin and pulls the address and it says like, hey, it looks like you're at 7922 South 35th Street. And then you click yep, or you drag the pin a little bit to the right, property. Because we're trying to make it as simple as possible to remove as many excuses as possible. Or I say excuses somewhat kind of like condescendingly, but it's also just reasons, because like, hey, I was busy, I forgot, had to get here, had to do this. And for us, we wanted it like, no, that it's as simple as you open your phone and you tap one button to confirm where you're standing, and then everything will be stored there so that you can find it. And we focused initially on that finding, the ability to find it and in one place. What we realized pretty quickly is that once you kind of pull it out of folders, like out of Google Drive or Dropbox where it's all stored in these folders, and we deliver it kind of in a feed. So you can always find the property that you're looking for, but you also get what we call the project feed. And so it's showing you the latest photos. You can swipe through them from every project. So you can scroll, just down your phone and you're like, oh, look, Adam dropped off that stuff he needed to. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jose's job is going to finish here in a little bit. Like it's just answering these questions or even seeing problems. That's when people really come around. It's like, oh, you see something happening and you're like, uh-oh, that needs to not be happening. And then you jump on it and start figuring it out before it's kind of all done. And you have this, in roofing, it's like a leak. You see something happening incorrectly that you just wouldn't have seen otherwise. And like in 2 years or 2 months or something, you're going to have a leak, you're going to have a problem. And when you catch that day of and solve it, that's kind of like a light bulb. Like, oh, I didn't know I needed this kind of visual communication software. That's not anything anyone's Googling, real-time photos but it's like, once you have it, you're like, oh, that never would have solved that problem. And now, you're out of that headache. So sorry, that's a big, long pitch, but that's just the big idea that we're trying to tackle.
Well, the thing I love about it is so easy, because the one thing I found, if it's not easy, they're not going to do it no matter what, if it's the estimator or the foreman or whoever, they're not going to do it.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your system just makes it so easy. I actually, your company gave me a behind the scenes demo the other day, and it was awesome. I could see our crews using it out in the field very simply. And like you said, it helps you. I didn't even think about it this way, is it helps you find those problems before it actually happens. And, we, like for our aspect, we'll do a design and submit it to the customer, then we'll give it to the foreman and they have to go out and do it. Well, they may run into an issue that we didn't see, when it comes time to build. They can send it to me right away, and then we can kind of correct that without even have to go to the job site. So that's awesome. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that you touched on two things there. The first being the ease of use, and you said, if it's not easy, they're not going to do it, and that is exactly right. I mean, it just has to be dead simple. So we always say, like, you can teach someone to effectively use this app in less than 1 minute when you don't even speak the same language. Like you don't have to talk. Like it's just like
Yep.
this, and everyone can get what that is. You don't have to be technically savvy, and that was part of. I try to be the kind of like design maniac around here, or the one reminding everyone we got to keep it simple, stupid. Like a lot of things, people, want to add a bunch. Oh, we do this million different things, and we are adding features too. Like we have tons of stuff that I think is awesome, but I'm always telling them you cannot take away from that simple core experience of capturing this stuff and organizing it so that they can find it, so that it is just like they don't have to even think about it out in the field. It's just like you show up, you take a few pictures. You run into an issue, you take a few pictures. You leave, you take a few pictures. And it only takes, 10 seconds any given time. But then you have that full kind of visual timeline of that project. You see things that are happening. And that, it is. People are looking for things like accounting software or design software. There's categories of things that you kind of know you need. And we don't really fit into that, which in some ways makes it a little harder for us to kind of explain the value because it's not a category that someone already understands that they want something. So we benefit a lot. I mean, I try to talk about it, but even then, I don't know. I get, spun around sometimes. But showing people, when you see it, it starts to make a lot of sense, and you can kind of imagine the situations that you found yourself in, especially disputes. Like no one wants to be arguing about whether it was like this or like that or and sometimes you're just wrong, like you did mess something up or whatever, but just being able to refer to this is what it looked like before. This is what it looked like when we left. It's provable. These are GPS stamped, time stamped. We know exactly who took this photo. And even if you're in the wrong, you're not doing a he said, she said thing. You're just like, okay, this is what we got to do. And if you're in the right, but you don't have a photo, you're probably going to end up doing the thing anyway. Like, again, I'm going to just use roofing analogies. Actually, in roofing, sometimes you damage plants even, so
Sure.
It's like if that geranium was smashed on the ground when we showed up there, and then we do roof your house and we leave and you see that there's a geranium smashed on the ground, hey, we did that. And if we don't have a photo showing that we didn't do it, then we did it. As far as you're concerned as the customer, and we're going to buy you a geranium. And I have definitely ran over and bought some geraniums at different times.
No, and this is the same thing and similar in landscaping. So like we require our foreman when they get to the job site to do a walk around the property with the homeowner and look at, for broken sidewalks or driveways before we even pull our equipment across, because we've had to pay for sidewalks that, we have damage. But if I can snap a picture of it and show it's cracked prior and send it to him and it's documented, this is one way this software can help not only sell or store photos, but help protect you in your business.
Yeah. And what's really cool now, so we just released a feature where you can build these kind of custom to-do list templates, or almost like checklists that you can build out. So you can, for example, your residential installation inspection checklist, right? Whatever you want to call it. But it's the idea of that, like, or initial walkthrough. Maybe that's a simpler word. But you can just call out on there. It's just like creating little tasks, either do this thing, take a picture of this, but we make it really easy to save that so that it's the same on every job or every relevant job, because this is the kind of stuff that's built for me, because I forget everything. They'll be like, what color were the gutters? And I'm like, I forgot. I didn't write it in my notebook or something, and that kind of a thing. But here you can just say, check the driveway. Boom. Check this, check this, check this. And they can easily just take pictures of it and kind of checked off that they checked it. And then you have this record of, well, here's the photos. Here's the thing. We know that it all got done. And we are trying to move, from our company, from what I would call an unstructured field capture, which is a camera. You can point a camera at anything, take any pictures you want. The camera's not telling you what to do. You need to know what to do, and then you can take the pictures. And we're trying to move, we're trying to take that same super simple experience of just capturing it, getting it organized, and move into that, what I would call structured capture, where it's like, you need to take a picture of these 17 things and then answer, these 4 questions. So we're kind of continuing to build that out. But right now it is, you can build that list, you can save it, and then you can easily take pictures like really fast, where it's like, oh, this thing, boom, couple pictures. Oh, this thing, boom, couple pictures. And to kind of make sure that everything got done and have it documented, and then it spits out these beautiful PDF reports that you can send to someone. But it's that exact case where, hey, we need to do this thing and we want it done either the same way, or we know that these are the things that need to get covered on every property. And so that's just another great example. And that's a brand new feature we just rolled out like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they showed that to me in the demo. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, because I'm huge on checklists. Like, that's one of the first things that really got my mind going on how like adding system procedures and checklists in your business can really transform it. And seeing this feature included in there is awesome. I was like, yes. So I can definitely see how other landscapers can put this in their business. The other cool thing is, it not only can help protect it, but you store your photos, but you can also use it to sell work too with this. And that was using the tags feature, which I thought was awesome. You mind sharing about that?
Absolutely. So there's I'm going to just back off from that a second and then jump into it, because we want to be the best way to capture information in the field. Like the best way, the simplest, fastest, most powerful tool for capturing the state of any given project, whether that's in estimating, whether that's in when it's finished and you can make these beautiful before and afters. But we want to be the best tool to do that. But that, once we've done that and you have that stuff in CompanyCam, that's a resource for your business. It can help you sell. It can help you do better accountability. We have a new feature where you can market it on your website. There's a bunch of cool stuff there. But along that idea of taking the resource that you already have and making it more valuable in selling, there's several options. One, you can tag things like you were saying. You can tag photos, or even you can categorize projects based on the different type of project or some of the like materials you used, whether like maybe it's like it could be a color palette, it could be types of specific plants, or it could be a type of stone if you're hardscape, whatever it is. You can easily categorize the projects and any given photo with these tags, and then you can pull that up and show the customer at any given, it's really easy to filter down and just say, oh, hey, yeah, check out these ones we've done with, I don't know, some certain style of home or some, just whatever it is. That just the ability to easily categorize the stuff you're capturing so that you can display it really quickly is really powerful. And then our app, everything basically works by geography, by trying to show you what's nearby you and trying to make it easy to get these things organized under these projects. And what we found is really compelling is when you can look at that nearby projects list and say, oh, this is a project we did, 3 blocks away, or in just showing people things of work that you've done that's near their house that they might recognize. Maybe they walk by there and they're like, oh, that's powerful. Or I know Sandy over there, like that type of thing. Yep. So to me, those are the two big angles, are saying the simple ability to categorize your work so that you can just show it to people by kind of the style or by whatever you used. And then the ability to just show them things that are close to them. Because if it's your next door neighbor, that's more compelling than if it's 3 blocks away, which is more compelling than if it's 3 miles away. It's just always more compelling to show people work that is like right near them. And so from a selling perspective, I love those. There's a marketing feature that we just released too, we call it showcases, but it's a way for you to publish these projects and the photos from them directly to your website from our app. And it's like one step. You can give it a title. You can categorize it just like I was saying. And the idea is that you get this beautiful, it almost kind of looks like Airbnb running on your website, like instead of pictures of homes, it's pictures of, let's say, landscaping. But it allows you to share all of this to your website from our app in essentially one click. It probably is like 2 clicks or something. But really simple. You don't have to know anything about your website. We'll help you set this thing up, and it sits on your website. It looks beautiful on your homepage, but then you can just put your projects in there and people go to your website and they can browse around like all the work that you've done. They can basically sell themselves. They can look at the styles. They can look at this. And some companies are good about updating their website, but in my experience, I'm good at it and I never do it. Because it's like you're logging in somewhere, it's work, Whereas when you're using CompanyCam already and people are capturing these photos every day, just going in and like, oh yeah, let's post that one. It's really simple, and people want to look at pictures. They don't know the names of things half the time. They want to visualize what, and I mean, I'm telling you something you already know. They want to visualize what could be. What could this look like? What are other people doing? And rather than them doing that on Pinterest or on House or on some other, just somewhere else, if you can say, oh, hey, come to our website. We've got our last 200 projects on there. You can just like browse through them, the styles, everything. It's really, I mean, our customers are loving it. We've only been doing this for a couple months, and they just love the fact that now their website is a place that they can update all the time and that people can land on and actually browse. And when Google sees that your website is a place that people sit around on and click through and look at things, that pushes your rank up. Anyway, sorry, I'm overselling this right now, but I'm just super excited about it.
No, it is an awesome tool, and like we were talking earlier about just having where they can tag photos. Like in our instance, it'd be like different style of brick, different color of brick, or stone walls or whatever it is. Having that ability, because I remember, this is kind of dating myself, but I remember putting together like photo books and going out to the customers and flipping through these photos. And here's an example, but you can't get all the photos in a photo binder at the time, and then. Nowadays, it's so simple with this app. You can just go on there and click, Unilock, whatever, this type of stone, this color, and you can pull it up. It's awesome.
We're not trying to invent anything new. It really, I mean, that just shows how ahead of the curve you are. If you were doing that at the time, because it's, people want to see photos.
Yep.
And we want to show them our work. It's a combination of, hey, this is stuff we did, and this is stuff that you can kind of imagine what it could look like or whatever. And we... almost every step of the way when we're building features or doing things, we're trying to think, what are people already trying to do? Because if you're trying to do it, there's a reason, and can we make that way simpler and more powerful? And if we see the opportunity to take something you already want to do and make it way simpler and more powerful, it's like we look like geniuses or something. That's probably a little strong, but it looks like, oh, what a great idea. And it's like, no, it's your idea. You told us that you wanted to do that, and everyone's trying to do that. And we're just trying to say, can we make this thing so simple that you can really do it and do it regularly?
Well, you pointed out earlier, sometimes people don't think that they need a software like this, or an app like this. And it's true. If you look at it like, I don't need it. But when you actually start seeing and looking at the value you get from it and what it can do for you, like just the simplicity of protecting you and selling and putting stuff on your website, that's awesome. It saves you so much time in the back end that you don't even think about it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a big advocate of you do need this. Yeah. And what we found is, it was a little more work to start getting in front of people, because we did have to kind of jump in front of them and say, oh, hey, look, there's a thing over here that you should look at. But we have very, very low churn. And when you're selling software, churn is, people that quit using it. And that's just what we find is it does take a little bit sometimes to kind of get, okay, do I actually need this picture thing? Because that's most people think about it. It's a picture thing. And we would say yes, because out of all the reasons I've said, but that you really don't know until you try it. It's hard to understand how it's going to change just the way you go about your day, and how much more how much less you're sort of wondering about. And we get these reviews, they come into our company chat and they'll be like, it's a game changer. They say all these things that you can't really explain to any people using their marketing language all the time. It's kind of like, oh, whatever, yeah, game changer. But really, I know that once someone starts using it, they're not going to stop using it, and they're going to tell other people about it, because it really does make their life easier. And no one wants to go from being able, from knowing all of this and seeing it every day to not knowing it. Like, it's the hardest. I used to drive the worst truck that we had at my family's roofing business. It didn't have air conditioning. You're driving around. It was miserable. I was young, so I didn't know any better. But then one year, my dad bought he bought it for me ostensibly, but it was a work truck. It was like a 2010 F-150. And this was like brand new at the time. And it had like air conditioning and Bluetooth and all this stuff. Once I had that, I was like, I'm not driving that other truck anymore. Like, I was fine driving that truck. Never really thought about it or worried about it. But now that I have this, I am not going back to driving that. And it's something like that. It's like you get this thing, you didn't really know that you needed it, but it's really nice. And you're like, I don't want to go back to doing the other thing.
Yeah. No. Well, the other thing, it's very affordable. I don't remember exactly. It's like $19.99 a month or something like that per user.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
if you compare that to Google Drive, it's about the same price.
Well, that's what we look. I mean, so it's $19 a month per user that you need to have on the system, taking photos or building the reports, which yes is totally reasonable, and especially sometimes up front people will be like, oh, do I really need that? Once they start using it, then they add all their people because they're like, oh, what am I going to not spend $19 a month and then end up with this $1,000 headache or something? No, I'll just get everyone on there because it just makes sense. But we are trying to bring, and I make sure to tell everyone around here, sorry, I'm pointing out at my office, there's people out there, that when you create value, you can capture value. And we want to always bring 10 times as much value as we're capturing. So, I mean, we believe that you're going to look at this and that you would look me dead in the eye in a year and say, not that I would pay 10 times as much, but that it's worth that to me. That we are getting way more value out of this than we're paying you back. And that makes everyone happy. We're happy to have customers and make money and help people run their businesses better. And if our customers feel like they're getting it on the cheap, so to speak. I mean, people have come to me and been like, you should be charging more money. You're killing yourself. I'm like, no, we want to get people using this. We want them to love it, and we want them to keep using it. And then we want to bring more value in the future. And I think starting with that attitude, if you create value, there's going to be enough for you to, make money or do all of that on the back end. And so, yeah, we try to keep it simple too. Like we don't have a bunch of like different price tiers. That we are thinking about building some cool stuff for like maybe like $10 more a person or something. We're not there yet. We're just like at the point of like, what could we add to this that would make it, worth that much more that people could opt into. But yeah, keeping it simple. And for example, if you want to cancel, well, first of all, you get a 2-week free trial. And then if you're really small and you just want the basic features, you can do like 50 projects for free. So that we really want to make it like, if you see the value, you'll stick around and become a customer. If you don't, you won't. And then it's simple, clean on every side. But if you ever want to cancel, there's just a button that says cancel and you click it and you're done. You don't have to call me and explain it to me of why you don't. It's like easy in, easy out. And I just don't, I like things that run that way. Like it really bugs me when people do oh, look, we'll sign you up right now for this amazing introductory rate. And then if you want to cancel, it's like, wait on hold for 4 hours from our customer service. And you're like, this is, I don't know. It's just, it's bad. So we try not to do any of that.
No, I can definitely see that. We're actually kind of experienced some of the same thing in our $1 Million Academy. We had a member, they're getting to the slow season. They're going to cancel because they're not sure what they're going to bring in for revenue, which I understand. But the platform we're using to host our academy on does not make it very simple for them to cancel. I'm like, so I'm trying to like figure out a workaround so I can make it easier for them, so they don't have to. If they want to cancel or stop or suspend or whatever, they can. Really simple, and it's kind of a pain in the butt because I totally get it. I don't want to dig.
Well, and when you believe in your product, you don't. I mean, I don't know. I think it's bad from every side. Meaning, so what? You strong arm someone into not canceling, or you squeeze an extra 2 weeks worth of money or something. I mean, that doesn't. No one's happy about that. Some people. We've had people that have canceled because their business turns a little sideways or like the seasonality screws them up sometime. And they usually come back because, when they can, or they get hired by some other company and then they convince them to use it. And it was like better all around because that company's bigger and, got more people and stuff like that. But yeah, sorry, I'm monologuing a lot here. I want to make sure you get your questions in.
Oh, no, you're fine. Now, we actually have at least one of our members I know that I spoke to actually has used your CompanyCam, and they love it. They said it was a game changer in their business. So that's why I was like, super excited to have you guys on and talk about it. And once I got to see the demo, I'm like, this is an amazing tool. Like, I just wish I had it 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It made a huge difference.
Yeah, well, we did too, but we're a little late to the party, but at least we're here now.
Well, things progress, things change. So it just, like you said, I started doing the book just with photos in there, taking out, just, having to go get them, print them off at Walgreens and then put them in the photo album. And then we progressed to like I think it was a Shutterfly book for a while that you put it together and it looked a little more professional. Then now you just put on your tablet and flip through it. It'd be so much easier.
That is the idea.
Yep. Well, Luke, I appreciate you being on the show today. Do you have anything you want to add to the listeners or anything?
Gosh, I'm usually have no shortage of things to say, but at the moment, hey, just remember to tell the truth out there. Our company mission here is to build trust through truth and transparency. And I'm just a big believer in the kind of like straightforward business that is the secret to long-term success. I mean, I watched my dad do it with his roofing company and the way that he did things. And there's always a way to like make a buck by being a little shady or stretch, doing this thing. And so I don't not that this is revolutionary advice at all, but just that, we are trying to help our customers do this, to capture the truth in the field, transparently share that through their business so that they can have accountability and they can trust the way that things are going at their business. And then we want to help them do that for their customer. And then hopefully, with the idea of showing off their work to help build trust with their potential customer to really grow their business. But it all boils down to that, like the on the ground truth. And that we want to, for our business, we want the people that are doing good work, that are, having high integrity, to be the ones that grow and win. And that CompanyCam will be a tool for them to do that.
Actually, I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of this industry has, those shady people, and that's why they're always scared about hiring things. So I couldn't agree with you more. It's so true. All right. Well, if anybody's interested in CompanyCam, definitely head out to their website. It's companycam.com, and you sign up for 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2-week free trial. And hey, what's the name of if I was going to make a special page for you, because I would love to just give you, anyone who's listening to this a discount, or, we always do the free trial, but then I like 50% off your first 2 months or something, just something that would make it easy to try. And remember, you can always quit. So you're not locked in, but, what should I do? Cause I can make it companycam.com/
just do like million.
Perfect. I will do companycam.com/ million. And then that page will be dedicated. If you come through that page, you'll get the free trial, you'll get everything. And then you'll get 50% off your first 2 months if you decide that this is something you want to do. So companycam.com/ million.
Well, thank you for that. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And I know the listeners will love it.
Hey, happy to do it. Right. And I'm not doing it. Someone else I'm going to send them a message and say, hey, I kind of promised a webpage here. But we'll get it together.
That's all right. Well, thank you. All right. You got time for a couple quick, fun questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Who are your heroes in real life?
Oof. Immediately comes to mind is my dad. He, especially as I get older, I have kids, the way that he has like behaved himself in a sense, like the way he treats people, the way that he's run his business. He's just like an honest person. He's really high integrity. He just does things well, and he does what he says he's going to do. And like, that's not super flashy when you're a kid, and your dad owns a roofing business. But like now, especially as I have kids, and I just really respect him and appreciate that about him. And I feel like it's rubbed off on me. Like I'm a lot more of a, I don't know, wild kind of, I don't know, wild's probably strong, but like, well, I'm a lot less reliable by default than he is. But it's kind of been this, I don't know, encouragement, or just seeing him. I realize how blessed I am in that way. I mean, he had this business. He helped fund our this CompanyCam, all of these things. So he's definitely the first person that comes to mind. I'm trying to think. But yeah, let's stick with that.
Yeah, he sounds like an amazing guy. Amazing guy.
He's a good dude.
All right. What are you currently curious about?
Oh, dear. You are walking into No, I mean, here's the problem. I find myself curious about these contentious things that everyone wants to scream at each other about. COVID, politics, economics, Bitcoin. I've been thinking actually a lot. This is somewhat separated about just structuring a business with high accountability, like empowering the people close to the problem to do it without everything being sort of centralized. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder. There's a thing up there. It says Bitcoin or die, which I'd never said, but they printed it up one day and hung it in my office because I'm a big Bitcoin believer. And so, gosh, I am curious about a lot. And I think that's why I like this job so much in this company is I just like kind of new, interesting kind of problems or understanding something that is different. And I'm pretty sure about this. I'm not the best person to optimize a thing or kind of make it run really smoothly. I run a lot more on the what's the big idea here? Or how could we do this totally differently? That kind of stuff. Yep. And so I'm always thinking about that stuff. But yeah, that's just a handful of things. Happy to dive into any one of those if you want to. Otherwise, that area is pretty fraught. So we should probably,
I'm just starting to get into the cryptocurrency and stuff, and I'm digging it so far. It's pretty cool. There's a lot to learn from it, but
it is. I'll tell you what. Let me give you the 1 minute Bitcoin pitch or less. Yep. We are now experiencing real inflation. You see it. You go to the store. They'll say that it's 6.2%. It's the latest number I heard this morning. I would challenge you to find something that's only gone up 6.2%. Yeah. So in general, those numbers, it's a little more sophisticated how they calculate it, but it's the calculations are meant to minimize it versus to sort of fully explain what's happening. And it is the opinion, or is my opinion, and opinion of a lot of people who are into Bitcoin, that that all the printing of new money, the idea that we can just oh, hey, there's all this, we just made $1 trillion new to pay for this thing that we didn't have $1 trillion for before, and now we just invented it. That in any given moment may not cause a bunch of problems, but over the course of time, you devalue the currency. And we all know that, if you're holding $100, 100 years ago, how much more that $100 was worth than today. Mm-hmm. And the sort of Bitcoin idea is that money is such an important part of every transaction of how we live that it probably shouldn't be controlled by any one group of people who can just decide to make new money or to change it, that it really should be this kind of bottom layer that is set, and then you can kind of trust the numbers and the communication on top of that, rather than wondering, is this thing more expensive because more people want it, or is it more expensive because they printed up a bunch of money and now it's more expensive? And so I'm very long Bitcoin, and I think that in the long term it's going to be, and there's way more to be said about this that I can't properly explain, but I look at that and I think over the long term it's going to be very valuable. Over the short term, a month, a year, 2 years, 5 years, it could go any which direction. I have no idea. But I when you see this type of inflation happening, that is exactly why Bitcoin was made. And I think over the next couple of years is going to, I think it's going to prove more valuable than just a speculative thing that people are into. So that's my Bitcoin opinion.
I agree there. I definitely think it's going to be something that's going to just become normal in the society around the world. So it's the way that the way the world's going. So, all right. Last question for you. What is your greatest regret?
Ooh, greatest regret. Gosh, I don't run high regret, think about the past. And I'm really luckily haven't done anything really terrible that comes to mind immediately. I'm ugh. I think a lot of it, when I look back and regret, it would be how I have spent my time at different times, playing a ton of video games or just doing and I think this is what helped me, because I started this company after I had kids, or my son. I got 3 kids now, but my son was maybe 2, and kind of realizing I need to do something more than just, I don't know, almost like the minimum amount, or the kind of like enough effort to get by and do fine, but not to like really build something. And so that time wasted where I wasn't working on building things or kind of like making myself better, or even just, what am I trying to say? Having true leisure, but like kind of doing other dumb stuff. You could maybe classify going college into that. I spent a lot of money and time, for something basically useless. But no, I do. I think I've been wanting to write up like a manifesto. Maybe manifesto is a little strong, but something to just remind myself how unimportant most things are, but how really important few things are. And on any given day, you can get really worked up or really something about something that if you actually step back, you're like, is this in the top 50 things that are important to me in the world? Hardly ever is. It's not, but just by what you're focusing on or whatever, you can get, you can just find yourself worrying about things that aren't that important. So I try to, and I feel like I've done this quite well since I've had kids, is to focus my time and effort on things that matter, family, building this company, but doing that in a balanced way that I don't lose it. Because I know people that are working like 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day. They've got little kids. And I mean, sometimes it takes that for a while, right. But like, what I'll tell you for sure is you don't get that time back. Like, I've got an 8-year-old now that used to be a 2-year-old, and I don't have a 2-year-old. And that time, like, whatever I missed is gone. And so that, I don't know, that to me is this concrete, like when I think of time that I didn't spend doing things that were important than I did spend doing other stuff, that for me, that's where I would say I regret it. But I also try not to think. I just try to think into the future.
Oh yeah. No, I think your value of time changes, once you have kids, especially because like my oldest now is 16. I look back, I'm like, man, where'd that time go? Like, man, I could have felt like I could have done more things with them. Like, but I can't look at that way.
Well, you don't want to beat yourself up, but it's like, as you sort of see that, and it is true, because kids are the concrete proof of time passing. If it's just you or me, now we feel a little older, maybe numbers go by on calendars, or but it's like you just see your kids change, grow. All of a sudden, like my 8-year-old's like arguing with me about being the admin on the computer. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm not making you the admin. He's like, well, you never use it. I'm like, that doesn't matter. It's my computer. You're not going to be the admin. What are you, crazy? You're 8. But it's like, that's an argument that I was having. And I, like, before it was, hey, can I have ice cream or something? I don't know. But
Oh yeah, no, it definitely changes things. And like you look back, it's like, holy cow, where'd it go? It went so fast. It's like I tell my friends that are just having babies now, I'm like, enjoy this time. It's trust me, just enjoy it. It you don't notice it at that time, but it does change when you get older.
Yeah.
But all right, Luke. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today. And definitely go to the companycam.com is /million, you said, for the page.
companycam.com/million.
Yep. And definitely check out that deal and take advantage of it. Just try the product out. I guarantee you're going to love it. Once you start playing with it and start seeing the advantage of it, you're going to fall in love with it. Trust me on this.
Yep. And if you don't, no hard feelings. You know what? We're not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
But yes,
there you go.
Scott, thank you so much for having me. This was great. This was really a lot of fun.
Yep. And I look forward to doing some more things with you, Luke.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm game whenever. This is my whole job.
There you go. Sounds great.
Awesome. Bye, Scott.
All right. Yep, thanks. Bye-bye.